I keep hearing people talk about how diversity is the problem, and I know they don't mean it to sound racist, but I mean really it does sound racist. But I know it's not meant that way. When people say forced diversity or enforced diversity or diversity or whatever, what they really mean to say is the agenda to add diversity, but at the cost of story and character and other such things like that. What they really are saying is, man, BMW drivers are the absolute worst every time. Every time. Anyway, uh, I lost my place now. Anyway, so diversity is a good thing. You know, when it actually also makes sense to have diversity. There's really almost no way to have forced diversity like people claim it's hurting Star Wars, unless you were to do something like to have Luke Skywalker have a black brother, you know, or an Asian brother, or have Han and Leia have a Hispanic child. You know, that would be forced diversity. But when you set out from the beginning saying we're going to have a cast of diverse characters, multiple ethnic backgrounds, and both sexes represented somewhat equally, well then that's not forced diversity. That's just laying out your cast. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you have to identify what your cast is going to be. The problem is when you decide, as Lucasfilm did, we're going to have a female lead. She's not going to be very interesting, but we don't care as long as she's female. And she's going to be great at everything because we can't have her fail at anything. We can't have a man teach her anything. We can't have a man explain to her anything. She has to be the feminist ideal, perfectly competent and able to do everything on her own without the help of a man, at least without the help of a man. So now they're putting ideology ahead of character. And then you take a character like Finn, and yeah, you talking about Lucasfilm here, claim to be progressive. You claim to be doing something good with diversity. However, the black character that you give us is a negative racial stereotype. He's cowardly, as I've said before. He's cowardly. He chases women around. He doesn't have the ability to figure out what's right on his own without someone else, especially a woman, telling him what is right to do. He can't seem to figure out on his own what he needs to do, and he can't actually get any victories, any heroic victories, without it being clumsy, without him happening across it, or without it being some sort of cheap shot like he got on Phasma. That was a cheap shot. That wasn't a straight up victory. He got a cheap shot on Phasma. Her back was turned. When she turned around, he called her. She turned around and looked at him, and he cheap shotted her. So he doesn't get any points for heroism for that. Now these are character problems. These are not diversity problems. These are character problems. So when you want to talk about what is plaguing comic books and movies right now, you can't say it's diversity because you actually sound like the people who they're claiming you are. You actually sound like the bigot that they are claiming you are. Right? Diversity is not the problem. Characters are the problem. And the agenda to put diversity ahead of character is the problem. But that's not forced diversity. That is simply horrible judgment and horrible character development and story development. They're just sabotaging their movie for the sake of their agenda. But you can't keep saying that it's diversity. That diversity is a problem. Forced diversity or whatever. That's not the problem. So I hope people get this message. I doubt that they will. But we really need to stop saying forced diversity or diversity is the problem.